Fellow citizens and residents, good day. 2 weeks ago, I informed the nation of the Ministry of Education's decision to keep our nation's schools closed until today, 1st May 2020, as we review the current situation in light of the COVID-19 threat. As the Minister of Education, I am here today to reaffirm the Ministry of Education's commitment to making the best decision regarding our children's education. The Ministry of Education remains vigilant in its assessment and response to the threat of coronavirus. To this end, we have been advised that it is critically prudent for us at this time to keep all education institutions closed until further notice. This measure is imperative to protect the safety and well-being of the more than 15,000 public and private school children and students within the Federation, as well as the thousands of educators entrusted with their care. Our decisions regarding the extended closure of schools are informed by the advice of our local medical experts. These experts continue to keep abreast of the most current international and regional medical research and best practices for controlling COVID-19. Through the guidance of our Chief Medical Officer and National Task Force on COVID-19, our government has successfully implemented a national COVID-19 mitigation strategy here in St. Kitts and Nevis. The success of this strategy is reflected in the flattening of the curve with respect to the number of positive cases of COVID-19 in the Federation. As a country, we have to be very careful about how and when physical distancing measures are relaxed. At this time, our government is confident it is the right decision to extend the closure of schools to ensure that we continue to stem the spread of COVID-19, particularly as scientists have not yet established guidelines on how physical distances could be best implemented in school settings. What we do know for sure is that we will not reopen schools under the same conditions prior to closure, and that all critical steps will be taken to ensure that the required conditions for sustained health and wellness are in place prior to the return to traditional education in brick and mortar schools. I can say definitively at this juncture that when we reopen schools, they will reopen in a phased manner to ensure the health and safety of everyone concerned, and guided by the advice of our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Hazel Laws, and the National Task Force on COVID-19. The extended closure of schools and the resulting shift to remote learning is a significant and historic move in education brought about by the pandemic. We have been working to minimize learning loss as much as possible. Our efforts to date have been focusing on ensuring, 1, students are provided with sufficient learning activities which are currently accessible to families on the Ministry of Education's website www.education.gov.kn and the FLOW study program www.flowstudy.co. 2, students' nutritional needs are supported with the provision of nutritious lunches for students whose parents determine that they are in need of this assistance. 3, the system-wide training of teachers in the use of the platform Microsoft Teams to support virtual education. 4, the development of a strategy to increase equity in access to education through the provision of resources, specifically the loan of electronic devices to students and teachers in need of such support, and installation of internet connectivity in homes without such services. Within the education sector, all of our current resources, human and financial, are being utilized to ensure that we continue to meet the education needs of our children during school closure and to facilitate the efficient and full return to normal activity once the threat of COVID-19 has been reduced. With the extended closure of schools, the Ministry of Education, in addressing the transition to virtual instruction, has updated its remote learning strategy and guidelines for continued education in the home. The current remote learning strategy for home-based continued education has been developed with a full understanding of the critical need for physical distancing to support prevention and recovery of public health while mitigating the impact on students and learning. The devices purchased by the Ministry of Education to be loaned to students for the purpose of meeting the needs for continued education are being prepared for students' usage. Subsequently, these devices will be distributed to students previously identified for this critical support. COVID-19 brings with it many uncertainties. This can be challenging, especially for children. Thus, we at the Ministry of Education remain mindful that children should be able to enjoy life in its fullness. This is possible when they feel safe, free, and comfortable in their environment. They enjoy good health. The people they trust are with them. The things they need are provided for, and they can engage in normal activities like going to school and playing with friends without fear or hesitation. These fundamental rights of students are never forgotten by us. For this reason, we are assured that the continued closure of schools is the right thing to do. Ensuring the continued health and safety of our citizens is what matters most. This consciousness underpins the decision to provide school meal lunches to students starting Tuesday, 5th May 2020. Parents were previously asked to communicate with their child's school to indicate if they wanted hot lunches on the days of reduced curfews. The lunches will be available for collection between 11:30 and 1 p.m. at various locations within the communities. Parents or the registered children can collect the students' pre-packed lunches, and they are to ensure that they are observing the recommended safety protocols for being in public, that is, wearing of a mask, maintaining adequate physical distancing, and exercising proper hygiene. This is a civic duty for the well-being of the nation. In closing, I remind all parents, teachers, and students to continually visit our website www.education.gov.kn. I am also urging all of us to follow the government's official news sources for further up-to-date information on the education sector response to COVID-19 and the best practices for remaining safe in the face of COVID-19 threat to our human resource. Let us continue to work together to mitigate against the possible secondary impact of this pandemic to the children. I thank you.